he's a quality bowler already, and he's going to be a great bowler in the future. As you said, we obviously started extremely well. Certainly comparative to the last 2 games in the power play. I thought the guys did a fantastic job. Managed to hit the right lengths, and obviously managed to get three rewards in there, and obviously full credit to Chanto and Lytton. I think the partnership that they were able to consolidate. They obviously took their time at the start, and then towards the back end, obviously managed to put a little bit of pressure on us, and we knew we weren't far away. Obviously, a reasonably long tail that Bangladesh had, but unfortunately we weren't able to make more inroads, certainly through the middle stages of that game, and we certainly saw towards the back end of that innings. Obviously it became a lot harder, especially when the bowlers came out there. So we obviously got to the halfway mark, and we're reasonably happy. We knew the surface was better than the previous 2, but unfortunately from a batting point of view, we weren't able to build partnerships, and we know when you're chasing a score like that you need partnerships, early partnerships, and unfortunately we weren't able to do that. More from a statistical point of view, the knowledge that we had in day games that have been played here before, a lot of the teams had won chasing, so that was our thinking behind that, and we certainly saw the way Dean played towards the back end of the innings, that if we were in a position where we had guys in and set and we had wickets in hand, then things may have been different. But unfortunately, the way Bangladesh bowled at the start, managed to put a lot of pressure on us, and they pushed that rate up quite quickly. So full credit to their performance today. Yeah, look, I think any time you come to these conditions, or conditions that are foreign, it's important that you learn from it, and you grow from it, and you take that into experiences that you have in the future. And as a whole, a lot of these guys haven't necessarily been to Bangladesh or been to the subcontinent, so it's going to be a great learning. Whenever you are put under pressure, you certainly learn, and I'm sure the guys from a batting point of view and a bowling point of view will certainly take a lot of learnings from this tour, and hopefully when we're put in this position again, or guys are put in this position in the future, then they'll obviously look back on the series and see a whole lot of growth and a whole lot of learning. Yeah, he obviously showed his world-class experience. We know the threat that he has. Obviously, swinging the new ball. Also his slower ball. And we saw obviously a couple of guys get undone by that. But obviously, I think he must have been close to playing that first game. But I think he must have had a niggle that obviously ruled him out of the first 2. So obviously bowled fantastically well, and full credit to him. Oh, run it. Yeah, he's a quality bowler already, and he's going to be a great bowler in the future. Was just talking to 𝗵𝗇 before, and I think he said he's only 23, so I think someone's able to run in and bowl 145, 150 on a reasonably slow surface. Certainly shows the skill set that he has, and the X factor that he has. So he's obviously bowling fantastically well at the moment, and he's obviously a star in the making for Bangladesh, that's for sure. Yeah, he played fantastically well. As I said, I think the partnership that Chanto and Lytton were able to put together. Again, we were probably on top at that stage when those 2 came together, and we sort of threw everything at it. Tried to change plans and all that sort of thing, but they obviously played fantastically well, and built a lot of momentum for them heading into sort of the back 20 overs, and full credit to the way they played. Yeah, look, I think any time that you have a reasonably inexperienced side, it's important that your experienced players are in a position to take a little bit of control and be the ones to, have that significant contribution. And unfortunately, the names that you've just mentioned, myself included, obviously weren't able to, contribute to, having that significant performance to, put games in favour for us. So, as I said, even though I've played a few more games than some of these guys, it's always about learning and growing, and when you come to these conditions again, you look back on experiences and see what you might have done different, or if it was just an execution thing. So as a batting unit, we'll look at that and see things that we can do slightly different. Some of us are staying here for the T20s, and it's important that we take as much information and learnings, from this series and into the T20 series, and hopefully we can, put some good performances together. Yeah, it was very hot, and I guess people probably don't see it necessarily on TV. The conditions that we were faced with, it was really hot. Probably one of my more hotter experiences playing in these conditions. So again, full credit to the way that they played. Yeah, look, I think we've had guys that have had exposure to different conditions. We've had some guys that have put their hand up. You mentioned Nick. You mentioned Dean Foxcroft as well, and obviously Will O'Rourke has come back from a big injury layoff. So obviously performances. Some guys have put their hand up, which is great. We want guys when they get an opportunity to put their hands up, and we've seen a couple of guys do that throughout this tour. And as I said at the start, you always look back and you learn and you grow as a player. And this tour is going to be no different. When a lot of these guys come back to these conditions, they will have that experience, and we'll be able to take that into future series, which is only beneficial. So obviously would love to be on the other side of the result, but as a Black Caps environment, we always talk about learning and growing, and we've certainly done that over the last week or so. Well, I think as professional cricketers, you want to win. There's no hiding the fact that obviously our goal will be to win the series, but on the other side, it's no different to, I guess, this series where we've got a few personnel changes, but again, growing in these conditions, guys getting exposure to these conditions that haven't necessarily been to this part of the world before. So it's certainly more of the same. Again, some guys with a little bit less experience come into the side, and again, if we're able to grow from the start of the series to the end of the series, then I guess that's a tick for us. I don't know them off the top of my head, but we've named our squad anyway, so you'll have to check that.
For more updates, subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Download 𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗃 app to enjoy exciting games and highlights. Visit 𝗃sports.com.